What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PlayStation Forecast, episode 49, and I am your host, Alex Derrickson. I hit the mic. I was trying to get my hand to time with the swooping in of the lower third. I usually can get that really good, but I just missed it, and then I wasn't prepared for the microphone aspect of it all too. But hope you guys are doing great. If you can't tell, I'm feeling good. It's feeling like a good week, right? I sat down, played a few games for a change. You know, I appreciate everybody that has reached out the last few weeks to be like, dude, get your shit together. I feel like I've gotten my shit together. I'm more relaxed. Feel limber. Feeling real good. Got the old noodle joints going here. And fired up that their PS4, deleted that their Super Mega Baseball 2 off the PS4 I have down here. That's like the workstation PS4, so I won't have to worry about that getting my attention any longer down here, at least upstairs when I'm watching my son run around. It's pretty much the only thing I can get away with. Excuse me. Woo-hoo, it's one of those weeks. So, first thing I did, I fired up Apex Legends, which is the Battle Royale game based in the Titanfall universe that Respawn put out, that EA published just like a week before it dropped Anthem 7 days before its day one. And so here's my experience with Apex Legends. I loaded it up. I did the tutorial. I fired a few guns, and I thought, wow, the guns sound great. They feel great. Like it's fun to shoot in that game. And then the tutorial froze and then started over. So I thought, that's weird. That's not supposed to happen, but I enjoyed what I've done in the tutorial. I seem like I'm still pretty early on in said tutorial. I will do this again, and then we'll just get to where I needed to go. So I get back to the tutorial where that guy is at the light at the tunnel, and he's like, hello, legend, or whatever he says. I don't remember. He looks like, oh, God, now I can't remember the Cad Bane, the bounty hunter in the Star Wars Clone Wars series. He looked like him, kind of, from a distance, if he was like a Borderlands character. Now, I got up to him. He says his little greeting. It then freezes and then disconnects from the server. And I go back to the menu. And I thought, well, I'm not doing this. So I hit triangle. Instead of learn or whatever, I hit play Apex Legends. Threw me into a game. It told me I was the jump master. I had no idea what the fuck that meant. I said, let's land here. Everybody else was like, I don't know. And in true Alex Plays a Battle Royale fashion, I landed, couldn't find any weapons, and was killed swiftly and justly. That was it. That was my experience with Apex Legends. And it was one of those where I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll just play Overwatch. And I went to go play Overwatch. And I was like, no. What we're going to do is we're going to play this other game. It usually comes out around this time. See if you can't guess it. Comes out around this time every year. It's very popular, but it's really only popular for like a couple weeks, about maybe 5-6 weeks out of the year, and then people play it and they do it and they love the result, and then they don't touch it again for a year. And that game is TurboTax. Your boy filed his taxes. So then after I did that, grabbed I did not intend for this to still be on the desk, but grabbed the old VR boy here, the little Astrobot face, and played a game that I actually got a code for. So, full disclosure, SoulPix sent me a code for this, but I played Eden Tomorrow on PSVR. So, Eden Tomorrow, it is a first-person sci-fi kind of walking-ish simulator light. Like, I haven't approached any combat yet. And it's not like a platform. So what Eden Tomorrow is, what makes Eden Tomorrow so interesting with me is gather around, everybody, and listen to the legend of Plaid Pants. So Eden Tomorrow is the first PSVR game that I've played where it is the DualShock that you use, but it's a non-driving POV. So, like, really that isn't Batman, I guess, would be the other way I'd phrase that. Now, the issue I want to get the bad out of the way. I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna mix in some good with the bad. The good of Eden Tomorrow is the environments, like the rocks and like the planet that you crash land. You crash land your ship. Let's get the synopsis out of the way. I'm jumping all over the place today. Now you crash land, and you're accompanied by a robot that looks kind of like one of the spheres from Portal. I know they're not called spheres, but the name escapes me. It looks kind of like Wheatley. His name's Newton because he fell on your head like an apple. His words, not mine. And you don't have any memory. He is all fucked up. Like, his systems are all janked. And you also can't speak. So that's the other thing, is he is the only communicado you have. So you crash land, you get off this ship, and one of the things that throws me off about it is it's a game you play where you're sitting down, but your character is obviously standing, and it's weird to me. The head tracking on it, first off, the head tracking is great. I was really, really happy with that, because like you even like head track your way through the menu, and I thought that was pretty cool. But the issue, for getting into like the minutia here, is when you're walking around the environments, the walls and like the tops all look great. Like, they look not like super realistic, but like realistic as you can in like a first generation kind of setting with VR. The screen door effect is pretty bad in this one too. I noticed, like, it's one of those where once you kind of like look forward and your brain convinces you your nose isn't something you can see, you can kind of look through it. But at first it is kind of like disorienting and kind of unwelcoming. But then you get off the ship, you encounter this just behemoth of a beast, and it comes straight at you. And that part, I actually was like, I shot back a little bit, and I swore, I said a cussy. And then it goes away, and you start kind of looking around for places to get out. Now, this is a really good opportunity to look at the world of Eden Tomorrow, kind of look at your first set piece, your first like area of the game, your first setting, right? And I've talked about the walls. You walk around the walls, you're kind of looking at them, and they're detailed. These rocks have these ridges in them. The coloring looks really good. But then you like look at the floor and you kind of look at like your person when you look straight down, and it's a little off. It's off-putting. You immediately kind of remember, oh yeah, this is a game. So it's kind of like, and in terms of like the creatures and stuff like that too that you'll come across, like, those look good. Those are good-looking VR visuals. And it's one of those where it felt like the resources were spread out a little too thin. I will also say, from a like person playing the game perspective, this was the first one that I ever got motion sick on. And part of that was because this ties back into being the first really full traversal game, because I said not Batman, but Batman kind of had more like a teleportation mechanic, if I recall correctly. Now I don't even remember. But this one, you're full on, like, you're walking. It's a full on first person like walking game. So instinctually, I had the right thumbstick I was trying to use to control the actual looking around, kind of forgetting about the whole VR aspect of it. So I would look around with my head and kind of like see the stuff, but I was trying to use the right thumbstick, and what the right thumbstick does is if you go left or right, they're 90-degree turns. So it's like the 180 button in Left 4 Dead, divided by 2, obviously. So if you're walking straight, if you turn your head, you can kind of keep that going, kind of keep those directions going. But if you're trying to walk straight and you're looking ahead and you're using the thumbstick, you're going, and it's a turn, and you're going this way. And then if you try to go again, it's a hard turn. And that messed me up. That messed me up real bad. Then it kind of is like, it's environmentally kind of spooky, because you don't know what's coming, because you're in a foreign land. It's not like Horizon, which would fucking be gorgeous, but it's not like a 2001 kind of thing where it kind of sounds like you're being accompanied by like an AI, which the AI might turn on you. At some point, it's hinted there that that's a thing that's going on this planet. It's got like a moon feel. It's got like that 2001 feel, but it falls just short of that for me in the 30, 45 hour that I've played of it. So going a step further, for there only being a single character that talks to you, you have to assume the man that did the voice for Newton probably recorded a lot of lines. However, they only have used the same take of, "What is that?" over and over and over. Anytime something comes up, it's that same, "What is that?" Another thing comes in, "What is that?" But like then there's other like humorous aspects. There's a spot, I guess, spoilers for Eden Tomorrow right here. There's this kind of like winged beast that you see in the beginning. And it's low key like stalking you through moments, and it shows up and it starts kind of like inching closer to you, like just slowly. And Newton turns and looks at you and goes, "I'm sure you'll die." And I was like, that's funny. That's exactly like the line that I wanted to hear at that moment. It's just like, "I'm sure you'll die." But something else happens and then whatever. But some of the creatures in it are pretty unsettling. Like, there's a moment like where something came up from the cliff and immediately Newton goes, "What is that?" And then I kind of looked at it and I was like, "Oh, fuck, look at that stuff." And I was just like, I'm going to bounce for a little bit, because VR is interesting in that way where it's so obviously a game. Like, from the jump, you're like, this is a video game. But like, you have this way of convincing yourself that like, no, I'm here. Like, the stuff gets in your face and gets up in your business, and you're like, oh, but God, like, okay, woof. You kind of like lose that moment. It's that suspension of disbelief, but almost in real time. And it's fascinating, like the psychological jumps that your mind will make when you do something like this. But so far, I'd lightly recommend it. Just because, if nothing else, for the environmental stuff, the light jump scares that have happened so far, certain things like that are really cool. I do want to push the story a little further, kind of get more in the weeds. My goal is later this week having a video up along with a new episode of Platinum Pursuit this week too. So be on the lookout for those if you do watch this. But pretty sure that's what I had. I had my brief stint with Apex Legends. I was gonna play Overwatch. I filed my taxes instead. And then, yeah, Eden Tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure that is all I've played. I played more Battle Chef Brigade, too. Got a little further in that, because that was kind of the game that I said, like, I put in last week and I wasn't feeling anything from it. And so in a massive tweet thread, I put talking loosely about depression that was attached to a photo of a tuna steak I pan-seared, because that's how my mind works. I talked about that I sat down with Battle Chef Brigade and I said, I'm going to play this until I love it again. And it was all of like 10 minutes. And then now the game's starting to introduce more mechanics and new changes, new challenges. And I'm excited to get through those, because that's the stuff that sometimes I just don't care about. Like, if the whole game, I understand the whole game can't just be boss battles of you cooking against someone else, but like, God, I wish that was what it was. But then you just have the complaints people had about the original drafts of Cuphead, where it was just like, it's just a boss fighter. So yeah, more Battle Chef. I can't not love that game. I'm really itching to get back into Astrobot and a few other stuff here throughout the rest of the week. But be on the lookout for a gameplay preview of Eden Tomorrow and Platinum Pursuit featuring Planet RIX 13. That is that. You're caught up to date, and let's do the damn thing. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the PlayStation Forecast, and it does come to you each and every Tuesday on youtube.com/PressX2Alex and podcast services around the globe, including that there Spotify. Remember, that happens at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday. And if you want to get your voice heard on the show, all you have to do is write in to psforums.pressx2alex.com or get at me on Twitter at twitter.com/pressx2alex. And as always, this entire labor of love is self-produced and self-funded by yours truly, which means the best thing you can do to help support the show is support it just by sharing it, posting it on various websites, getting it out there. I have some places I kind of want to reach out with this. Maybe do like some, in lieu of like a partnership kind of deal. Because it's getting to the point where grassroots is great, but I'm hitting my cap in terms of what I feel like I can do on my own with a full-time job, with a kid, with a marriage, with a house, with a life, and all these other things. Like, trying to do stuff like this gets difficult, gets in the way, and that's what causes me to have months like January where I'm just perpetually burnt out and can't get my shit together. Now, I'm going to hopefully maybe come up with some cool shit we can do here down the road in the future, get this show maybe paired up with some powers that be that I'd like to see, but that's neither here nor there for this week. Whew. Let me get a drink of water. That was a lot. That was a hearty almost 16 minutes. Like a fucking comic book villain just monologuing all day. All right. Without further ado, let's get into the news. Google is teasing a GDC reveal. This comes from gamesindustry.biz from Mr. Brendan Sinclair. Google is raising expectations for its Game Developers Conference showing today, sending out a round of invitations to a GDC keynote address at the Moscone Center in San Francisco on March 19th. The invitation includes a .gif image of a hallway with a white light at the end of it that becomes blinding before displaying the date of the keynote and the slogan, "Gather Around." Quote, "All will be revealed at the Google keynote," end quote, the invitation promises. 10 a.m. on March 19th, 2019. Find us in Moscone, South San Francisco. As for what could be revealed, Google has reportedly been working on game streaming technology for some time. A little over a year ago, it was said to be working on a project codenamed Yeti, a subscription streaming service that would either work on Chromecast devices or with a new Google console. It was then reported that Google hosted meetings at GDC 2018 and E3 2018 with a variety of gaming companies and developers to generate support for the platform, including through acquisition. Google tried out its streaming tech last fall with Project Stream, a beta test that allowed participants to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey in a Google Chrome browser. That test ended earlier this year, and visitors to the Project Stream website are now asked to give their email addresses in order to receive news and promotions related to the tech. I did do Project Stream, and I did get a free PC version of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I can't do anything with unless it's being played outside of a Chrome browser, which it no longer is. It's happening. It's exciting. The next generation is slowly inching it out, and I feel like that's, like I said that a couple weeks ago or last week, that's going to kind of be the story for this year. Is just we're inching closer to what is next. And being somebody that was part of Project Stream and did do Assassin's Creed Odyssey in the Google Chrome web browser across 2 or 3 different laptops, including a Chromebook and this fair to Midland laptop I run this whole production on. It's impressive. It is beyond impressive. It is far beyond what I thought the tech would have been at this point. That thing played seamlessly. It existed just within a Google Chrome web browser tab. Like, I was able to do that, pause it, bring up another tab, look up if Captain Lou Albano was still alive, see that he was dead, close that Wikipedia tab, go back to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it was remarkable. I will say that, at least. That's me being not even that generous about it. I was blown away. And if this is something they can pump out and power full time, I don't think nationwide or worldwide we're there in terms of internet speeds, data caps, and things like that were kind of like this consumer uphill battle. But in terms of the tech existing and it being something that, is like an auspicious start to streaming technology, Google's got it. And I think this is going to be what people thought the Ouya was going to be and what they thought OnLive was going to be. And if they do come out with just a Chromecast app that is basically just Netflix for games, it's onto something. And while, like I said, it's not going to be for everybody from a consumer standpoint and consumer-friendly standpoint, it is a really, really great foot in the door. So we'll see come GDC. Got some sad news from Gematsu. This is from Sal Romano at Gematsu, where the PS Vita production is ending soon in Japan. PS Vita will soon end production in Japan, according to the official Japanese PlayStation website. The pages for the PCH 2000 Z11, ZA11 PS Vita Black and PCH 2000 ZA23 PS Vita Aqua Blue SKUs, which are the only two remaining PS Vita models in production in Japan, mention that shipments are scheduled to end soon. Sony Interactive Entertainment, which manufactures PS Vita, had previously confirmed that production of the handheld will end in 2019. While a specific end date is currently unknown, it is worth noting that when PlayStation 3 ended production back in May 2017, the official Japanese PlayStation website posted the same notice 2 months prior. PS Vita first launched in December of 2011. Rest in peace, sweet prince. What a handheld. I got to that thing way too late. Way later than I wished I had. Way later than I wanted to. Just, what a great little system. I'm trying to close the tab. If you're watching the video version, you can't figure out what I'm doing or where I'm looking. It's because the monitors and the display settings are screwed up, and I can't get it. Anyways, there we go. I think with the Vita, there's been so many games, Battle Chef Brigade being kind of leading the charge for me, where I'm playing it and I'm loving it, but I'm just like, why can't you be on Vita? Why can't I take you with me? And I know I can on Switch, and I feel like I'm inching ever closer to getting a Switch. I don't know when or how soon or how far away that is, considering the fact that I just got this fucking thing. It's a ways off for me, I do think, but just looking at the Vita and the games on that and the tech on it and just how the approach to it was so butchered, and how, like, if it just came out 2 years later, or maybe if they had focused the message more towards how the PS4 was being presented. You know, I remember when the PS4 was launching, I thought they'd be stupid not to throw a Vita in there as a bundle, like a $500 bundle. Like, you can get this PS4 and the PS Vita, right? Grow that player base again, grow it with this new ardent fan base you're bringing with this new console generation. Maybe remap the UI, make it more compatible, do like a full, like UI overhaul, make it a little more compatible, get rid of the bubbles, make it look more like what the PS4 had, or like what the PSP had rather, and really start nailing that mixed media message, right, between the two systems. And they just never did that. And the Vita, kind of like the Move, kind of like the 3D implementation with the monitors and stuff like that, just kind of felt like it was that Sony that was jumping ship because there was a hole in it, because there was a leak in the bathroom. They thought the whole ship was sinking. And yeah, the leak in the bathroom was pretty major, but it's that sort of tenuousness, and that sort of like worried approach to releasing new tech kind of is what made me hold out on the VR for 2 years, because I was like, okay, I could do this, I want this, we can save for this and be good. But I didn't want it to be the Move. I didn't want to get it, and then 6 months later, 12 months later, 18 months later, then be like, it's not panning out. Like, I was hawking those, just like a hawk, watching those sales numbers, watching the concurrent player base, watching the attach rates, watching the games that came out, the release dates, monitoring that stuff. And I didn't want to get it until I felt confident in the fact that this was something that was here to stay, that this was something that was going to be built on, that the foundation was being laid, and that I wanted to get in on the ground level while they built that house on top of me. With the Vita, I was like, yeah, I want to get that, but I don't, it's just, there's not a whole lot for me there. And then over the course of time, through the Instant Game Collection, through PS Plus, I accumulated basically just a free and a pretty solid Vita gaming library, where I was like, all right, I don't need this Wii U anymore, and swapped it almost like one for one with a few games and like a warranty and a memory card and all this other stuff. It worked out. And I think the timing was right, but unfortunately it was also like beyond the tail end of that console being a relevant piece of machinery, and save for Danganronpa 3, really. And that was the reason, like, what a fucking series that was, the Danganronpa series, Uncharted Golden Abyss, Freedom Wars, If you like games that are about being sad, Actual Sunlight. So many, like the remote play functions. I remember I platinumed the Order 1886 on my Vita. Like I played roughly, I'd say 65 to 75% of the Order 1886 on my Vita, and the OLED display was fucking gorgeous on that game. That game, man. Go back to the episode where I revisit the Order. That's something I want to put that in the think tank. I don't want to talk much further about that. But there's just so many great capabilities with it, and they messed it up, I think, trying to hone in more on the mobile game market at the time, because that was when the mobile game market was really just beyond blossoming, right? Like Angry Birds was peaking and all that other stuff, all that other junk. But they kind of lost sight, right? It was that tale of two Sonys that you often hear about and often talk about, where it's that weird, cocky PS3 second mortgage your house for the system Sony, and like PS4, here's how you share games. Thank you. And it never... The gates opened and the horse tripped and broke all of its legs. It was basically the Vita launch, and it just never recovered. And it sucks, because it was a really good system with a really great feature set, and I think seeing something like the Switch succeed shows that there's capabilities for it, trophies on the go and such. But whether Sony goes there again or whether that's going to be part of the infrastructure of the PS5, hopefully we'll know sooner than later. Rest in peace, Vita. Next news here is that their January NPD. I just pulled these straight from Matt Piscatella of NPD, his Twitter. Please follow at Matt with 1T Piscatella with 2 L's. It's worth it if you're a big numbers dork like me, as I say that every month. Here are your top selling US NPD games for the month of January 2019. Number 1, Kingdom Hearts 3. Number 2, Resident Evil 2 2019. Number 3, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Number 5, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 6, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 7, Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. That's funny. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was 4, and Ace Combat 7 was 7. Huh. Number 8, NBA 2K19. Number 9, Mario Kart 8. And number 10, Grand Theft Auto 5. Your top 10 games for PlayStation 4 for January 2019 were as follows. Number 1, Kingdom Hearts 3. Number 2, Resident Evil 2. Number 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Number 4, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 5, Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. Number 6, NBA 2K19. Number 7, Marvel's Spider-Man. Number 8, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 9, Madden NFL 19. And number 10, Battlefield 4. Oh my god, I just spilled water everywhere. This is a very full bottle of water. That is brimming. Man, looks like I pissed myself. All right, and your top 10 best-selling games for the 12-month period ending January 2019, so from January 2018 to January 2019 across all platforms were: number 1, Red Dead Redemption 2, number 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, number 3, NBA 2K19, number 4, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, number 5, Madden NFL 19, number 6, Marvel's Spider-Man, number 7, Far Cry 5, number 8, God of War 2018, number 9, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and number 10, Mario Kart 8. It's a good month of games. Good 12 months of games. Let's keep it going. Be interesting to see how February is going to read, with Anthem and Far Cry and the like, and the other games that have come out that I've totally forgot about. What else has come out? There's been other stuff. I can't think. I read these every week, and they just shoop and whoop right out. Next news story comes from the PlayStation blog from Siobhan Reddy, the studio director of Media Molecule. Dreams Creator Early Access launches this spring. At Media Molecule, we love to give players a way to be part of the games we make. With Dreams, our ambition from the start was to put all the tools needed to make games in one accessible package and to allow players to make their creative mark on the world from their living room. We want the community to be able to create in a way that is fun, fast, and expressive and see where they take it next. During our beta, we saw players create such an incredible range of things: clever puzzle platformers, moody first-person adventures, gorgeous interactive paintings, super charming movies, and so many other things. Even though it's what we hoped for, we had no idea how ingenious and wonderful the result would be, and our eyes may have watered a little. So first off, we just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in the beta and for all the wonderful creations you made. As you may know, our small team has been working on Dreams for a long time. Beta was a very important step for us. It confirmed our tool set is ready for the community, but we still have more work to be done in other areas. Every game developer wants their game to be perfect, and we are no different. We have so many ambitions for Dreams, and the beta reminded us that Dreams only truly comes to life in the hands of you all, the community. So we stretched our chins and tried to scratched our chins. So we scratched our chins and tried to figure out the best way to put the game in the hands of the most enthusiastic dreamers and allow us to continue crafting and polishing it for everyone. And we have decided to go live and release Dreams into early access on PlayStation 4 this spring. OMG, it's happening. Early access won't have everything the full version of Dreams will, but you'll get 100% of the same Dreams tools that we have used every day at Media Molecule to make our content, as well as fun, deep, interactive tutorials catering for all skill sets and levels, and Media Molecule crafted arcade games ready to play and remix. If you joined us during the beta period and published your assets, you'll also have your beta creations to return to. Along the way, we'll be adding more features, tutorials, arcade levels, and assets during the early access period as we build towards the full slate of launch content. Just like with Little Big Planet, we have always planned to evolve Dreams with the community, and this is just the start. We will use early access to help prioritize all the awesome stuff we've already worked on. We are already working on, and get feedback as players develop and evolve. With refinements, bug fixes, and brand new features on the way, we are kicking off the live service side of Dreams so the community can get their first look at how we'll continue to support the game. In early access, you can stream, entertain, teach, collaborate, and share to your heart's content. It kind of goes into more details about like early access being for people who want to create and play the other creations, get involved in the social features of the game. Dreams Early Access will be available digitally through the PlayStation Store this spring, priced at $29.99 plus applicable tax in the US and $39.99 plus applicable tax in Canada. We are very excited about going live this spring and updating you all on the magic happening in MM Towers. So cool. I think the big gripe, right, that everyone had when it came to the closed beta of Dreams was the NDA, was that people weren't really supposed to be talking about it, putting up the stuff they're doing, but then people are also like recreating Dead Space and recreating PT and making whole full-on gorgeous looking first-person shooters within that game. And those are starting to come out and people were kind of like, hey, like that's great, but like take that down, please. And it was a bummer because, like, what better way to spread the game than showing what you can do with the game? So having this early access start in the spring, I think, is genius. Like, I think that is the best move they could have done for this game outside of just, releasing it, albeit frighteningly maybe incomplete. You don't want to take that risk. And I think that putting it in early access, putting it with a lower price tag of $30, and it's still being the full like creation, you can play other people's creations and things like that. Like, brilliant move. And I'm so excited for this game because I do think, pun sort of intended at this fucking point in the juncture, it is a game-changing game. I do think it's going to be something that potentially for years to come, people will come out and games will come out within Dreams, and how you would charge for those, I don't know. But it's a good, the same way that people were making levels for Little Big Planet ended up working for game development studios. That was kind of their resume, basically. I think we're going to see that with Dreams. I think there's going to be a lot of really cool shit that can be done in that game. I think the big problems you're going to run into is if you do remake PT or you are remaking Dead Space within there, at what point is this just a copyright violation? At what point is this City of Heroes and it's getting too easy to make Spider-Man, And that's kind of where I think the game could hit some red tape, hit some problems, down the road. But for now, making this early access and letting people in the spring be like, hey, look, I made this cool thing. I made this cool thing. I made this cool thing. And everybody's going to be like, how did you make that? What did you use? And they're like, oh, I made it with this game that's $30. Like, that's going to be how you drive people to this game. That's going to be how you make an audience. That's going to be how you drive that concurrent player count. Is if the community maintains, I do think Dreams could be a very potent, unstoppable force. The big issue is we're getting to the end of the PS4 life cycle, and is all of that going to kind of be for naught? Hopefully not, as we move to the next story. Segue from Alex Avard over at Games Radar, where PS5 backwards compatibility seems all but confirmed by a newly discovered Sony patent. Earlier this month, a patent filed by Sony seemed to suggest that the company was working on a backwards compatibility program for PS5, the inevitable next-gen follow-up to its hugely successful console, the PS4. While it didn't outright confirm anything, a second Sony patent recently discovered online via Gear Nuke has corroborated our suspicions that the PS5 will indeed be backwards compatible, especially as this one explicitly mentions backwards compatibility up front. Titled, quote, Simulation of Legacy Bus Operation for Backward Compatibility, end quote. The patent was registered at the same time as the previous one, but was only published this week and relates to a method which emulates the internal communications of a legacy system, i.e. old Sony hardware, for the company's new technology. The patent also refers to the ability to adjust the performance of legacy technology on updated hardware, which could be related to Sony's discovered plans for, quote, remastering by emulation, end quote, i.e. digitally remastering PS4 titles running on a PS5 via backwards compatibility. Think about how the Xbox One can play old Xbox 360 games at higher frame rates and 4K resolutions, and you get the idea. And as with the other patent discovered earlier this month, the online document also mentions Mark Cerny, lead architect of the PS4, in the workings of the process, which is further evidence that this method relates to PlayStation itself. Taken together, these patterns suggest that the writing is on the wall for PS5 backwards compatibility, though there's still no word yet on when Sony plans to release its next-gen console. So it's crazy that, like, at this point, we've gone from a couple years ago to being like, oh yeah, if we could have played our PS3 games on the PS4, that would have been kind of cool, to 6 years later being like, I fucking better be able to play my PS4 games on a PS5. Like, if not, there will be hell to pay, and I'm gonna not pay it, like taxes. I'm Wesley Snipes. But for backwards compatibility to be this needle that's been pushed so hard to the point where, yeah, we're back to the point where it's expected. We're back to the point where, the PS2 could play the PS1 games, and some iterations of the PS3 could play PS2 and PS1. Some could just play PS1. Some could not do either. And we're in this iterative step with these consoles now too, where we're getting the resolution up, but like then we're waiting for this to happen and waiting for this to happen, and it's this kind of constant like Stairmaster. But this thing needs to have PS4 backwards compatibility at launch, solely if nothing else because the library for this generation was so insane that it was impossible to play everything unless that was your job, was to play everything. There's so many digital games I'm sitting on. There's so many physical games I'm sitting on. And as the systems get shuffled throughout the house, when the 5 takes the place of a 4 and the 4 comes down here and the other 4 gets pushed somewhere else and then the 3 goes in a box, it's each iterative step, you're less likely to go back to something else. Like, I know each day in each week in each month, I'm less likely to go back to Horizon to do the Frozen Wilds. I'm less likely to go back to Spider-Man to do the City That Never Sleeps. And I want to. I stare at them and I'm like, yes, you. But then there's like, I've got these 8, 9, 10, 13, 16, 32 other games I've got to play and that I haven't played yet that I've spent money on or whatever. And you're like, okay, well, these have to fall to the wayside because I want to focus on these. But then, like, this one's also, like, 3 years old, so should I even bother? And then, like, it snowballs. And the next thing you know, you're playing Super Mega Baseball 2 for 6 straight months. But that's how it happens. You just eventually you're like, oh, well, the devil I know. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to go try a Reuben from someone where I've never heard of if I just know the ham and cheese is good, if that makes sense. And so for me, like, I'm like, yes, please. So I can, if nothing else, like, if the PS5 has a weak ass launch, in terms of games, if it's like, it's Knack 3 and a kill zone that's, it's all synth based. It's like, okay, well, I can I can play Crossing Souls. I can play that Spider-Man DLC. I could go back and play through God of War again, and I don't have to unhook anything or hook anything back up. I'm not having to move different rooms or anything like that. It's you want that ease of use, and we're at the point where I think this is feature number one with a bullet outside of maybe native 4K. I think if you did like a Family Feud thing and you were like, show me 4K, it'd be one or it'd be two, and backwards compatibility would be the other. So, news afoot. I'm interested to see where that's going to go. Feel free to sound off at psforums.pressxtoalex.com, or if you're watching the video version, the comments below, and let me know what features you'd like to see in a PS5. Next bit of news comes from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, where Anthem's physical sales are half of Mass Effect Andromeda's. Anthem topped the UK boxed game sales chart during its first week of release, but with half the physical sales of BioWare's previous game, Mass Effect Andromeda. Without digital sales through EA's Origin service on PC or download sales on PlayStation or Xbox, it's difficult to draw exact comparisons. But from the comparisons we can make, Anthem sales do not paint a hugely positive picture. Anthem's only managing half the launch week sales of Andromeda is disappointing, as Andromeda only managed half the launch week sales of Mass Effect 3. Excuse me. Again, we're talking boxed sales here, which will have dipped over the time in favor of a growing number of people downloading their games digitally, but it seems near impossible Anthem made up that sales gap with Andromeda. The last Mass Effect game launched at the same time, only 2 years ago, and through the same methods, including EA Access, which offered an early trial. As an online-only game, you might expect a higher number of digital sales, so let's compare Anthem to Destiny, as many already have. Well, Anthem sold roughly a quarter of Destiny 2's Week 1 physical total from back in September of 2017. Just looking at 2019's release calendar so far, Anthem's opening weekend physical sales were lower than both Kingdom Hearts 3 and Resident Evil 2. It's not hugely surprising. Anthem has had a tough road to release through a, quote, rocky, end quote, beta and technical issues in early access. Early impressions have been mixed, while BioWare has rushed to patch some of Anthem's biggest problems for launch day. So no other new entries land in the top 40 this week. So there's that. But yeah, Anthem's it's a rough start. And I think games as a service like that historically kind of have that rough start. We're going to talk about kind of building off the sequel of one here in a minute. But I think you've got that pocket of people that didn't get Andromeda because they were, maybe burned by Mass Effect 3, or too much time had passed and they didn't care about Mass Effect anymore because they're monsters and probably eat old fruit. And then you've got the people who maybe saw the reviews and saw the screens and the leaked videos and the bugs and all that stuff, and like, I'm good. And I think that does translate and transcend into Anthem's launch, where it is like, okay, EA's on some shaky ground in terms of like whether or not they're pro-consumer with their AAA titles, because they clearly are pro-developer with a lot of like the indie games and things like that. But then it's, how well does Frostbite work in a game of this size? How pay to play, pay to win is this going to be? How many day ones is this game going to have? How much am I going to have to pay to play it win? Like, at what point does the model kind of just get skewed? And I think we're seeing that with Anthem, because this is all still very new. This is all still something in very nascent phases that developers and publishers are still trying to figure out. Like, okay, at what point are we predatory? At what point are people paying $80 and not getting $80 in return? It's frustrating to see, because you want to see, at least I do, want to see these games do well. I want to see these shared space, always on, like, open world kind of games come out and succeed and do well and make that a thing, these games as service, so people can have their divisions, which we'll talk about here in a second, Anthems, Destinies, and all these pockets they can fall into and not feel boxed and not feel pigeonholed by being like, oh, I only like games as a service. Like, you can have your one game and that can be your game for years. But what's happening is it's like, oh, here's this game and the season pass for another $30, but also there's going to be this $40 edition that happens a year from now that's not part of the $30 you spent. So all in all, you're spending $130 for something you initially just paid $60 for, but maybe you paid $80 so you could play it on Tuesday instead of Friday. And it's like, what? And how much money have you spent on gear, or armor, or weapons, and shaders, and helmets, and other things too? And, is the lore worth it? Is the world worth it? How much of that are you getting in? And how many other players are playing? How many minutes are your load screens? And is it fun? Is it something is that loop good? Is that satisfying? Or is it just like Anthem where I'm getting in a suit and flying around and like that's the best part of the game? I don't know. I love BioWare. BioWare is one of my favorite developers in the entire world, historically, all time ever. And to see them trip with Andromeda and trip a little bit with Anthem, I get it. Games like this don't historically come out swinging, come out hot, right? The Division didn't come out hot. Overwatch didn't come out hot. Destiny didn't come out hot. It's over time, that dedication, that focus. But the issue is Bungie was working on Destiny. Massive was working on The Division. Blizzard is a giant team of people who could have the resources to focus on just Overwatch. BioWare has, multiple BioWares in general, but you're trying to focus on this open, shared world, always online, pervasive third and first person game like Anthem. And you've got this Dragon Age you're working on. You've got these Mass Effects you want to make. Like, they have all these other licenses and styles of games they want to make that maybe Anthem is just something that's out of their depth. And that's something that we're going to have to see by December and like early February next year. Like, what the Anthem now looks like down the line like a 6.5. But can they push that to a 9? Can they make that Anthem that they wanted? Can they make that Anthem that they promised? That's going to be the story to focus on here, going down the road, down the timeline of Anthem. Last bit of news from comicbook.com. From Tyler Fisher, the Division 2 beta broke records for Ubisoft. According to some new information shared by Ubisoft, Tom Clancy's The Division 2 is going to be bigger than its predecessor and maybe the biggest Ubisoft game to date. This month, during its financial call, Ubisoft revealed two very interesting tidbits about Tom Clancy's The Division 2. One, its recent beta had more players than any other previous Ubisoft beta ever. 2, its pre-orders have already surpassed that of the first game. Now, the first tidbit is probably the least impressive of these two factoids because it's expected. The first game was notably Ubisoft's fastest-selling game ever, and one of the best-selling games of 2016. In other words, it has a massive fan base that's eagerly anticipating the sequel and was probably chomping at the bit to see it early. We also knew the game had broken Ubisoft's records for most beta registrations ever. So it makes sense that it would then follow that up by breaking the record for most players in a beta. What's more impressive is the fact that its pre-order numbers have surpassed that of the first game. As you may recall, there's a ton of hype going into the release of The Division in March 2016. A ton. However, once the game launched, a lot of that hype dissipated. The game wasn't notably remarkable in any single measure, had a ton of bugs, and was light on end-game content. I'm not saying it didn't have its fans and happy players. It had a massive amount, but the general consensus was that of a disappointment. And for why people are pre-ordering in droves once again, who knows? Maybe it has something to do with all of the goodwill Ubisoft recouped by supporting the first game for as long as it did, or maybe people think it looks really good. And to Ubisoft's credit, they've seemingly listened to fan feedback and have said all the right things up until now. Tom Clancy's The Division 2 is poised to release on March 15th via the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. For more coverage, you can stick on comicbook.com, but we're not going to do that because this ain't comicbook.com forecast. This is that goddamn the PlayStation forecast. Cool. Bright news for Division fans. That game's going to do incredibly well. The hype behind it's strong. Ubisoft does these games better than really anybody else in the market right now in terms of like what they did with Siege, Ghost Recon, The Division. They're firing on all cylinders, and that's not going to change, I don't think, with The Division 2. New dates! Firewall Zero Hour gets 2 new contractors and more on the 26th, so by the time you're listening to this. PUBG visits Terra in a March crossover event that starts March 5th. Horror thriller Worse Than Death announced for PS4. It is from the creator of Alone With You and Home. I don't think there's a date here. Let's see. Nope, do not see a date here yet, but it is coming, so that's cool. Let's see. One Piece World Seeker sales to PS4 March 15th. And those are the new dates for you. But if you want to know what's coming to the PlayStation Store while you're listening to the show, then ladies and gentlemen, we need to do the drop. Now remember, the drop are your new games for the week of February 26, 2019. All of these dates are North American and subject to change without notice. 8-Bit Invaders comes to PS4 digital and retail. 8-Bit Invaders is a colorful sci-fi RTS that's easy to learn and play. I'm going to start that over. 8-Bit Invaders is a colorful sci-fi RTS that's easy to learn and play. Control the military might of the Galactic Marine Corps or invade with the savage power of the Cranoids. Collect resources, build your base, amass an army, and crush your opponents. Whoa. That got janky. That was weird. If you watched the video version, I'm so sorry for what just happened. I had the wrong window selected. The Arc Slinger comes to PSVR digital out March 1st. Get your trigger finger ready for the fast-shooting VR world of the Arc Slinger. Entrusted with the mythical gun Angel Heart, you must take down the villainous Gold Smoke and his dastardly gang. Do you have what it takes to become the Arc Slinger? Awesome P comes to PS4 and PS Vita out March 1st. It's PEA. Awesome P is a classic run and jump platformer where you must help the greedy P in his insatiable quest for gold. Dangerous dungeons, deceptively beautiful nature, hidden deadly traps, and many, many coins await you. Blast Zone Tournament comes to PS4 digital February 28th. Blast Zone Tournament is a fast-paced game where fun meets explosive combat. Take on challenges in the fully loaded single-player campaign and prepare to compete in numerous multiplayer arenas. Blast your way to the top of the leaderboards. Crash Dummy comes to PS4 digital March 1st. Crash Dummy is a challenging 2D platform game. Blast, burn, and freeze your way through each level, jump long distances, and do some stylish ninja action and wall runs in the story-driven adventure with a unique set of endearing characters. Creepy Road comes to PS4 digital March 1st. The world has gone mad. Hordes of enemies lie between Flint Trucker and his beloved Angelina. Only his courage and a shotgun will help him to reach home and save his one true love. Go get 'em, Flint. Dead or Alive 6 comes to PS4 digital and retail March 1st. The long-awaited new installment of the Team Ninja top-class fighting game series. With the addition of brand new stages and characters, Dead or Alive 6 embodies and illustrates the evolution of true fighting entertainment. Death Coming comes to PS4 digital February 26th. Death Coming is a non-linear puzzle game where you must harvest human souls, Final Destination style. However, pesky mortals are not your only problem, as the Agents of Light will do everything they can to stop you. Deponia Doomsday comes to PS4 digital February 27th. Can you change Deponia's fate? Do you have what it takes to change Rufus's past, present and future without accidentally destroying the whole planet? Fight time itself in the action-packed, platypus-tastic, and insanely hilarious story. Dirt Rally 2.0 comes to PS4 digital and retail. Dirt Rally 2.0 dares you to carve your way through a selection of iconic rally locations from across the globe in the most powerful off-road vehicles ever made, knowing that the smallest mistake could end your stage. Doom and Destiny comes to PS4 digital March 1st. 4 nerds drawn into a fantasy world and mistaken for heroes have to battle their way through a massive, crazy adventure and defeat a preposterous villain. Journey through an unpredictable story filled with parodies and cameos. This is Doom and Destiny, the flying spaghetti fantasy adventure. Thimble comes to PS4 digital February 28th. Fimble combines intense Viking battles with a deep story that unfolds through in-game comics to bring the frozen world of the Norse sagas to life. Immerse yourself in the blistering winter preceding Ragnarok, the Fimble Winter. Honor and Duty D-Day comes to PS4 Digital. Honor and Duty D-Day takes place during the D-Day landing in World War II. Play TDM of domination in 32-player matches. Drive tanks, jeeps, and trucks in large open maps as you search for the enemy. The Lego Movie 2 video game comes to PS4 Digital and Retail, out February 26th. Bricksburg is in ruins and Emmett's friends have been taken. Team up with Emmett and host a host of heroic characters to save their friends from the strange inhabitants of the Sistar system. Journey into outer space, discover new worlds, and test your master building skills. Nier Automata Game of the Yorha Edition comes to PS4 Digital and Retail. The Nier Automata Game of the Yorha Edition includes DLC and bonus content for the full experience of the award-winning post-apocalyptic action RPG. To defend against a surprise invasion from another world, a new breed of android infantry is set into the fray, the Yorha Squad. Pick-a-Pix Classic comes to PS4 and PS Vita Digital cross-buy. The popular picture crossword series goes back to basics. Pick-a-Pix is a picture logic game sometimes known as Picross, Nonogram, and Hanji, where whimsical pixel art pictures are created by solving puzzles. Remilore comes to PS4 Digital. Remilore is a roguelite anime-style adventure set in a colorful fantasy world. Features single-player story mode, two-player co-op mode, 200-plus weapons, upgradable spells, procedurally generated levels, and loads of unlockables and more. Stellaris comes to PS4 Digital. Paradox Development Studio is bringing the grand strategy genre to consoles for the first time ever with Stellaris Console Edition, featuring the same deep strategic gameplay, rich and diverse alien races, and emergent storytelling. Stellaris Console Edition puts the complexity of the galaxy at your thumbsticks. Summer Funland comes to PSVR Digital March 1st. Get ready for the awesome VR experience that is Summer Funland, a crazy roller coaster, hilarious minigames, an incredibly fast-paced motorcycle ride through Gotham, underwater voyage, and space trip. There's never a dull moment in Summer Funland. Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove comes to PS4 Digital March 1st. The iconic 90s duo is back in the groove with all new presents to help them navigate the whack planet Earth and retrieve all the lost pieces to the Rapmaster rocket. Team up for co-op play to discover secret locations, hidden presents, and new friends. Trials Rising comes to PS4 Digital and Retail. Explore over-the-top action and physics-bending motorcycle racing in Trials Rising, the latest edition of the Trials franchise. All new features, more competitions, and more tracks mean new challenges. Vertigo Home. Yep, that's all it's called. Okay, Vertigo Home comes to PSVR Digital March 1st. Vertigo Home is an endless runner set in the 90s space western universe. Fly through and above a tunnel that you steer with your head to avoid collisions with bizarre and dangerous obstacles. This is VR. The doors of perception are open. The Walking Vegetables Radical Edition comes to PS4 Digital. The world is under attack from vegetables turned evil by dastardly aliens. Answer the call and take up arms to defend the planet. Buy weapons, develop your skills, and roam from city to city to take out waves of evil veggie monsters. War Tile comes to PS4 Digital February 27th. Experience a living, breathing tabletop video game that invites players into a miniature universe full of small adventures. It is set in beautifully handcrafted diorama battle boards inspired by Norse mythology to honor the Vikings. And those are all your new releases for this week. Now, that means it's time for Trophy Talk. Remember, Trophy Talk is the part of the show where I try to take you from 0 to 100 on a PS4 or PS Vita or maybe sometimes PS3 game as fast as possible because the sanctity and trophies are dead and there are no honor amongst trophy hunters. Truth be told, this is a light-ass week. Pick-a-Pix, that's always one whenever those come up where I don't need to revisit those. The Lego Movie game, obviously. That would be one that'd be pretty easy. Let's look at Farm Together. It's 34 bronze, 8 silver, 3 gold, and a platinum. And Masira. Masira has 10 bronze, 6 silver, 7 gold, and a platinum. We'll do Masira first. While that loads. So currently on PSN profiles, 78.57% of users have the platinum, but in terms of overall owners, it is 29.6 on the PlayStation Store. Looks like it's story-based stuff. It's just doing stuff in the story. If there's a trophy that's going to hang you up, it does not seem like there really is a big one. 44%, 46, 42, 40, 40, 37, 38, 37, 29. Yeah, I mean, this one looks like it'd be pretty easy. 29% are like the lowest ones. And it's reading letters, read all the game's headlines. So it's just like some collectible stuff. So that one, Masira, Massira, looks like it'd be a pretty attainable and easy platinum. And then Farm Together, no one currently has the platinum for this one yet. I thought I'd just check it out. There's a lot of trophies across the board where people have 100%. But then you get into ones that are like zeros, like unlock all your farm expansions. That one seems to be a hang up. 50,000 diamonds on your farm and 500 metals is another one that looks like a big one. Also, enter a house. That one's at 1.3%. Complete a jobs at 0.7%. And place 25 decorations inside houses is 0.1% across the PlayStation's, all of the PlayStation owners. So, that's it for Trophy Talk, just those 2 games, which means that brings us to the end of episode 49 of the PlayStation Forecast. Remember, this comes to you each and every Tuesday here on youtube.com/PressX2Alex and podcast services around the globe, including that there Spotify. And remember, if you want your voice to be heard on this solo hosted broadcast, the best thing you can do is writing in to psforums.pressx2alex.com or just following me and tweeting me at PressX2Alex, twitter.com/PressX2Alex, but it's all right there. As always, any relevant links for you to communicate, get involved in the show, whatever, are always posted in the episode description of both the video and audio formats of this show. And remember, if you want to help support the show, the best thing you can do, of course, is share it, telling people about it, tweeting it. Let's help raise awareness of one of my favorite parts of the week. With that said, thank you guys again for your patience with me over the last few weeks and for enduring me for the last 49. Here's the next week's episode 50. It's going to be special because I'm not doing anything special for it. Until next week, I'll see you next time. Do the thing.